Evening boys, as you know tonight's homework is on page 181 and I'm asking you to do questions 2 to 6 and you should have finished the left hand column of each of those questions in class, but if not you can finish them off tonight as part of your homework. Alright, so here's an example of some of the problems you're going to encounter. So the first one is question 2a. Now what we want to do here is get the x's over to one side, and you can do that by simply subtracting 3x from both sides. See that 3x there? Well, I can take 3x from that side as long as I do the same thing to that side. So if I do that, what I end up with is quite simply 2x, right? Because 5x, take 3x is 2x, just bring down the 4, plus 4 equals what's left over here. Well, I did take off the 3x, remember, so it's just 8 over there. And now what you've got is a very simple two-step equation to solve, isn't it? And you should know that I can do that by first subtracting 4 from both sides, and then I'll divide both sides by 2. But firstly, I want to subtract 4 from both sides. So we get 2x equals 8 take 4 is 4. And nearly always the last step is to divide both sides by the coefficient of the x term, and that's 2 in this case. So what I end up with, of course, is 2x divided by 2 equals 4 divided by 2. These two cross each other out, don't they? Alright, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So we conclude from that that x is equal to 2. Now you should realise, of course, that you can check your answer by substitution. We're saying in this case that x is 2. So if you put 2 back into your original question, what do you notice? Well, 5 times 2 is 10, plus 4 is 14, so that side equals 14. Let's just write that in, and that should equal 3 times x is, so 3 times 2 is 6, plus 8 is again equal to 14. 14 does equal 14, so our answer must be correct. Okay, so after that last example you should be able to answer all of most questions in fact, but have a go at certainly finishing off question 2 and press pause when you've until you've finished that. Okay, here's another example. Solve this. X minus 5 equals 3x minus 17. Well, following the advice from the previous question, what you would do here is probably subtract 3x from both sides, okay? But I'm going to show you another way in a minute. But that's generally what I do. I like the x's to end up on the left-hand side of the equation, but it's not essential, as you'll see in a little while. Okay, so subtracting 3x from both sides, what do I get? Well, I've got x take 3x is negative 2x, isn't it? So therefore negative 2x. Bring down the minus 5 again, equals, now I just took 3x from both sides, so that 3x goes away, and just bring down the minus 17, or negative 17 I should say. Alright, the next step, I can add 5 to both sides, can't I? And when I do that, I'd say therefore negative 2x, I'm adding 5 to both sides, so that negative 5 is going to go, and negative 17 plus 5 is a negative 12, isn't it? And final step is to, as I said before, the last step is nearly always, not always, but nearly always, to divide through by the coefficient of the x term. So that's negative 2. And so what I get here in this case is x equals negative 12 divided by negative 2. And remember, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So negative 12 divided by negative 2 is positive 6. And that's going to be my answer. Therefore, don't forget, start every line with a therefore sign when solving equations. Therefore, x equals 6. And once again, I could check my answer by substitution into my original question. Okay, so that's one way of doing that. Now, some of you might be attracted to doing it this way, but it doesn't really matter. Let's just put that up there for a minute, and I'll give you a second way of doing it. Now, what we can do, in fact, is, if you prefer, you can subtract x from both sides. Okay, some people like to have a positive x term in their equation, but I'm not too fussed. So what we can do is subtract x from both sides, and what we get in that case is the following. Negative 5 equals 3x take x is 2x. Remember, I'm subtracting 1x from both sides, minus 17. Then what I can do is add 17 to both sides. So I get negative 5 plus 17 equals positive 12 equals 2x. And then I divide through by 2 to get x equals 6. But in mathematics we want the subject of the equation to be the unknown, so we just write this back to front, background the other way. Therefore x equals 6. Okay, so two ways of doing that. Alright fellas, you should be now in a good position to complete your homework, which, to repeat the point, is all of questions 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 on page 181. Good luck with that and goodbye.